Hello and welcome again to another video. In today's video, we'll be talking about the top teams in the Open Ultra League season. Hello, Asset. I'm sure this is season 19. Shared Skies. My name is Yasser Ali, the Twitch streamer. If this is your first time here, and we do best teams content for pretty much every cup that we have around. And in today's video, we'll be focusing about the top teams in the Open Ultra League. Yesterday's video about the top teams in the Summer Cup. And Ultra League is basically, if you look at the PvP ranking, the number one Pokemon on PvP, according to PvP, is Registeel. Registeel is the king of Ultra League, followed by Shadow Feraligatr, which is actually insane. Because usually Shadow Feraligatr wasn't as good because Poliwrath was just everywhere, similar to stuff like Cresselia. But the thing, did I say Cresselia? I meant Pidgeot. But now we see that Tapu Fini has made it into the top 3 after getting the Legacy move Nature's Madness, and Giratina is still within the top 5, which is actually insane. Giratina Altered has been in the top 5 since season 2, which was the time around, which is basically like since season 1, literally. And that was literally since the day Giratina came out, it's still on the top 5. Registeel has been number 1. Nothing has been close. Sometimes it was Shadow Swampert and Registeel would be number 2, but yeah, it's been number 1 since forever. Zygarde is on the list, Poliwrath is on the list, Pidgeot is still on the list, Shadow Registeel, please don't make Shadow Registeel. Empoleon Shadow, Cobalion and Mandibuzz, and that's the top 14. But people don't run all the thing on PvP. The 5 Pokemons I will be more I will focus more about is Registeel, the king, Feraligatr, the alligator, Poliwrath, the fighter. Cresselia is being like a good safe swap, a Pokemon that stalls the game. Similar to goes for Giratina. Those two Pokemon are just good at stalling the game, especially when you lose lead and you want to stall the swap as long as possible. Open Ultra League again it's a 2500 CP cap. And you can use XLs and legendaries. So I divided the main Pokemons that you could use in this cup into good leads, good safe swaps, and generalists, which are good everywhere. Good leads are Pokemon that usually have decent fast move pressure and a baiting move and a nuking move. Safe swaps are basically the Pokemons that just spam charge moves. Like the biggest example about that is Greedent and Jellicent. And generalists, those Pokemon tend to do well even against their own counters due to some, I don't know, debuffing or some debuff move or some a massive bulk. So the best lead on this in this cup is technically Talonflame as like a biggest example. What does a good lead mean? If Talonflame is a neutral matchup, it's pretty much Talonflame will just ramp up the fast move and just nuke whatever comes after. But that's why people started using Wartords, because like the Wartords are the only Pokemon that could stop the Talonflame. Registeel is annoying into Talonflame. Something to mention, if Registeel is on energy lead, Registeel wins. If Talonflame has the energy lead, Talonflame wins. Ampharos is a decent Pokemon I would like to use, but it's technically always like I feel like I'm slightly behind that. Ampharos needs an extra energy against anything, even in a good matchup. Like as an example, Feraligatr into Ampharos is an annoying matchup for Ampharos because Feraligatr outpaces. Annihilate is probably the best Pokemon. The problem with Annihilate that everything that is meta because it beats Annihilate. And Annihilate has one of the best typings in the game, Fighters and Ghosts, because you can nuke the Psychics as a fighter, and as a Ghost, you beat the Dark. Trevenant, I think Trevenant will make us like a comeback, because it destroys all the fighters, but the problem with it is that it still loses to Feraligatr. A9 is decent. I think I saw lots of A9s last season, and that's due to people just like running double fighters all over the place. Pidgeot is the king of the leads. Just lead it. If it's a neutral, you just go straight for their dance. And the safe swaps. And the best safe swap in this cup is the most obnoxious Pokemon in the entire cup. I call it the most obnoxious because it just annoys the heck out of me every time I play against this Pokemon. I just want to lose. I just want to top lift. I just want to leave the match. And that's a Greedent. Greedent is the spammiest, most annoying / obnoxious / hectic of a Pokemon. This Pokemon is just extremely good, okay? If you haven't built your Greedent, I don't know what you're waiting for. The Greedent is probably the best investment you could ever do, because they gave it Body Slam and Crunch. Crunch has a decent chance to debuff. Body Slam is just the best baiting move in the entire game, and they gave it mud shot, so it can generate body slams pretty fast. Feraligatr is the Pokemon I'm spamming right now in Great League and in Ultra League. I love this Pokemon. I think this Pokemon this season is probably the best safe swap. It's probably the only safe swap that we've ever had that hits hard from fast move and from charge move too. Usually safe swaps are Pokemons that don't have fast move pressure, but they have charge move pressure. With the except that Feraligatr does both. Feraligatr, especially the Shadow, has decent fast move pressure and decent charge move pressure. Similar goes to Polyrat, but the Polyrat technically is slower. Like a Feraligatr throw a move in 5, while Polyrat needs 7 then 6, right? Jellicent probably get power crept by the Feraligatr because Feraligatr does everything better. But what Jellicent does and Feraligatr doesn't do is the Polyrat matchup. Jellicent destroys Polyrat while like Feraligatr struggles against the Polyrat. What's his name? Shadow Drapion. Don't use non-Shadow, please. Shadow is 10 times better because everything dies to 2 crunches. If you get a crunch debuff, it makes the game 10 times easier. So even like something that's supposed to beat you will pretty much shield the second one. The generals that are good everywhere, like Registeel is the best example. Mandibuzz is extremely good. If you have a Hondo Mandibuzz, this is the best cup to use Mandibuzz. And technically, Ultra League Premier is better, where Mandibuzz is slightly better there because the Registeel doesn't exist there. So nothing is that much a huge. There is nothing that threatens the Mandibuzz, similar to the way that Registeel does. Giratina, insanely good. But with Giratina now, I've seen people using Ancient Power over Shadow Sneak, which is kind of understandable because Giratina is weak to the Flyers. So if people having Flyers, you can just go through straight Ancient Power and fish for the debuff, especially after they rebalanced Ancient Power and made it slightly better. Tapu Fini will make a decent comeback because of the Nature's Madness. I will be using Tapu Fini on day 1, so if you are interested in seeing some Tapu Fini gaming, make sure to stop by the stream, which I will be leaving in the description below if you haven't followed the stream. Now we talked about the Pokemons, let's talk about the top performing. So these are like the Pokemons that most people use, but these are the Pokemons that have the highest win rate. The highest win rate Pokemon in the Ultra League, according to PvPoke, is Mandibuzz. Why Mandibuzz? Because it's a kind of a neutral / destroys most of the meta. Like meta is Greedent, meta is Greedent, Jellicent, Annihilape, and Feraligatr, and Mandibuzz beats all of these. Like as a simple answer, Mandibuzz beats all of these. Tentacruel is extremely good. I love using Tentacruel. Yes, Tentacruel get a nerf, but it's still decent. I used it in the previous video. Look up the Ultra League Premier video I made. I used Tenta and I was having so much fun with this Pokemon. Feraligatr, I've been talking about this Pokemon like ever since this new season started, and just insanely good of a safe swap. Guzzlord is the Pokemon I abused the heck out of last season. I made it to Legend. I had a goal to hit Legend with Guzzlord. I did, and the team was the teams I was using in every cup that's not Master League. I was using Guzzlord. Because this Pokemon is just extremely underrated. People still do not respect it enough. So that's why I like to punish people with Guzzlord. Now we talked about the top Pokemons, top performing Pokemons. Let's just talk about the top teams. Okay, let's talk meta. Top performing teams first, which are like, there's a difference between, I say like BBML teams. BBML teams are the teams that do well in the average MMR, probably like ace to expert level of gameplay. But at top MMR, you will see more of like ABA, ABB teams. So I'm going to talk about the top performing teams, which are the teams that perform better in the high MMR category. And the team that people were just getting annoyed by the most is Registeel, Feraligatr, and Annihilape. And now in this season, this team is going to become this team, which is basically replace the Annihilape with Tapu Fini, and that should cover the weakness to Zygarde. And you have Tapu Fini, which is technically the best water Pokemon, followed by Feraligatr. And like, remember that this team used to struggle into Polyrat. This team, you don't care about the Polyrat because now you can just go straight Nature's Madness and just debuff the Polyrat to the moon, and you just don't shield at all. And if they decide to shield, you just farm them down later with the Feraligatr. So yeah, I do believe that this is the best team this season. Yes, it's top 3 PvPoke as well, which is another reason why this team is probably the best team in the entire Ultra League meta. But hey, we do have more top performing teams, and I'm a man of Guzzlord. I do love using Guzzlord, so probably I will be using one of the teams that I will be talking about, like one of those two teams. The first one, this is not my team, but this is a team that I saw as the second, as also a Guzzlord team, okay? Last season I was using Guzzlord, Cress, and Verizian. But every time I queue against a Guzzlord user, I would see Guzzlord with Tenta and Trevenant. I don't like Trevenant because Trevenant last season was a slow. This season does slightly more damage, does better against the waters, but I'm still not convinced enough, okay? Do you think I should be using Trevenant more? Like any Trevenant users in chat, like if you use Trevenant, please give me a reason why I should respect it, like why I should be convinced about Trevenant. So the team I will actually be using is this one, Guzzlord double alligators, okay? The alligators are just like mad, man. Like those are just crazy good. Give them a good matchup and they will just sweep. They love to feast on anything they see. Like a Skeletor, like it's probably the only ghost in the entire game that destroys dark Pokemons. It's just insanely good. I can't wait for this Pokemon to get Blast Burn as well. Like the Pokemon is already meta without getting its signature moves. So that's how strong this Pokemon is. Now, we talked about the top performing teams. Now we talk about solid teams, basic meta. Those are the teams that perform well with, let's say, with the people that are usually in ace to expert ranking. Because like at this MMR, people rely more on bulky Pokemons rather than hard-hitting Pokemons. And nothing wrong with that. I sometimes do it because like I don't want to keep, like try hardening every game. I sometimes just want to have fun and tap my screen until I win. So, remember how Tapu Fini was better with that team? Like I said, Registeel, Feraligatr, and Tapu. Well, with this one, I would say you can use a Skeletor, okay? But that's not what I use. I'm a Shadow Dragonite massive abuser, so I'm going to be Shadow Dragonite with Feraligatr here. If you guys watch my previous videos, I hit Legend once with this team, and this team is one of my teammates use, like this, Reggie, Skunk, Dragonite, but the team I will be using is basically this. Yeah, Dragonite, Tapu Fini, Feraligatr. This is the team I will be using. But later in the season, whenever like people ask me to use Clefable, this is the Clefable team I will be using. Clefable with Tenta and Poliwrath, or Tapu Fini. Whenever you can use Poliwrath, you could also use Tapu Fini. If people are using Charizard or like Talonflame, you can punish them with Tapu Fini harder than punishing them with Poliwrath. Guzz Gaming, remember if you are a Guzz fan, I said Guzzlord with Feralic double alligators is a great team, but hey, you could use Tapu Fini instead of one of the alligators, and you should still be good. Mattbeat's team, he hit Legend with this team when I had 6,000 subscribers. How many subscribers now we have? We have close to 8,000, so please feel free to support the channel by subscribing. It's free, help the channel a lot to grow, and help you too if you are interested in this content, because the more I see people like enjoying the content, that give me another motive to why should I be making more content. It's basically like Poly double dark, and if you have a Tenta, you could replace either of those darks with the Tentacruel. Lantern was annoying to this team last season, but luckily Lantern is nerfed this season, so it's not as strong as last season. No Alligator, it was a team I made last season just to punish those Feraligatrs left and right, and Poliwraths. Like the team's like, look at this, Feraligator, you just lose. You Feraligator, you lose. You Poliwrath, you almost lose. You Charizard, you probably win. Okay. And yeah, you could also have this at one of the seasons. This was my favorite team, because this was just so fast and so annoying, and with Tapu Fini in the back to punish those dragons. But Dragonite in the lead used to give me pain. So yeah, I tried to make it quick. So yeah, thank you so much everyone for watching. This is the end of the video. If you like this video, please leave a like on the channel. If you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And yeah, click all the buttons, ring all the bells, and see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.